What if, hot off the press, first one, Captain Carter, what did you think?
I actually kind of enjoyed it. Like, it was chill. It was very Captain America First Avengers in a lot of ways. I thought the things that they copied, I thought was great, so that it gave us kind of a similar basis. But I do like that it was very slight changes that occurred that made the whole thing like a completely different game altogether. So whether it's just a look, just basically a look is what created the variant of this universe that created Captain Carter. But I thought it was good for a first episode. We're setting a pace here. I didn't need to be shot out the cannon right away, but I wasn't bored.
No, it wasn't boring. That's the last thing it was. It wasn't boring. It cracked on at a real pace.
I watched it just before we're doing this episode. I'm still not sure if I like it or not. And it's really, I don't know how I feel about it, so I'm still thinking about it. That's why I like that they tackled sexism in the cartoons, and the little nuances like that give you like it's the same movie, just a different outcome. And it's kind of funny the way when Peggy lifted up Bucky from the side of the chain. So you almost took my arm off. I'm like, you!
Yeah, there's tons of those. If you watch it again, there's tons of those.
Yeah. The hard wink. You guys get it.
But at the end, it doesn't what's his name again? The bald fella, the narrator, the
Watcher.
Watcher. Doesn't he say? He says one line there that says something along the lines of, "This is that decision, Peggy Carter's decision to look and see what's going on and to not go up out of the way. That decision will cause a lot more events to take place." Mm-hmm. So I read that as if to say that action she took is now going to reverberate the butterfly effect through everything we're going to see in the next 9 episodes.
Right.
And maybe I misinterpreted that, but that's what I got out of it. So this is maybe not lots of different dimensions or multiverses. This is going to be one parallel universe to ours. That's what I got out of it. I could be wrong.
Yeah, no, I can see exactly what you're talking about in that, because of the fact that it every little variation changed. Like, I mean, the mere concept, even in that particular universe, where now you get Iron Man early. The Iron Man suit has been created early, as opposed to now with Starkverse. Starts in the era. You're instead of getting the Tesseract power and it just being weaponized, now it's more interdimensional portal. So now there's a whole different variation. So I think it could work actually in both ways, where you get that the elements that we see are also divergent variations. And so instead of it, continuing on this line and then let's say nothing else changed from that point, then now we get this variation where now the interactions between people kind of branch off and it creates its own. So I think that's why it can be, maybe it's like it's not the sacred timeline, obviously, but in that line, remember whenever at the end of Loki, when we're just seeing the branches coming off of the branches, Mm-hmm. I think that's what we're seeing in that. So I think it's like, you're right, while simultaneously it being also its own, these different universes that are being created. And now that they have the Tesseract as this interdimensional portal, I think that's also probably what's going to lead.
Who's got the Tesseract now? At the end of that episode, has Nick Fury got it?
Yeah, they opened up the portal. So instead of Loki coming out like he did in Avengers 1, in the first event, it was Peggy Carter that came out. Wow. And so
that was pretty cool.
That will affect Loki. That will affect, Iron Man, because all of a sudden now you've got the Tesseracts there for the whole time. It's not underwater anywhere. It's not to be found.
Right.
But you're right. This will reverberate. Now I don't know how it's going to, affect T'Challa and why he gets taken up as to become one of the Guardians of the Galaxy. But they'll probably come up with something if Tesseract's there and there's an Iron Man suit already now on the scene. This is where we're just predicting, but that one line definitely seemed to suggest that
Right.
okay, off we go. We're off and running in this one particular direction. Was it me? Did Howard Stark seem like a bit of a joker, a bit of a comic relief character in this, a lot more than Captain America?
So if you never saw the show Agent Carter, you kind of missed that Howard Stark there. So they actually are kind of bringing in the TV show Agent Carter's Howard Stark, which was initially the original, just the Captain America Howard Stark. So that guy is actually very more similar to the ABC, which is actually really interesting that they did that, because that means that they're at some level canonizing that Agent Carter as its own universe in a sense, but not quite. But they're canonizing that, which makes me wonder if they're going to utilize elements of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which they had already said they almost wanted to decanonize, but now it seems like it's opening it up.
I think all of the stuff that has been put out will probably be like one way or another canon, because now they've opened up the multiverse and they're probably going to take elements of this and that. Like there are rumors that Ghost Rider from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. will be coming. They're hoping for a Quake and Ghost Rider reunion and all of that. I agree with you. I think we're going to be seeing a whole lot of different things.
The animation on a couple of characters I thought was a bit of a letdown. The Winter Soldier I just couldn't see Sebastian Stan in the place, and I couldn't see. The most disappointing one was our, beloved Nigerian actor Hugo Weaving in the Red Skull. Hugo Weaving's got very distinct face. Like he's got those really sharp features, sharp Nigerian nose, and kind of bags around the eyes. He's got kind of that, which made him perfect to play all those bad guys. I didn't see that. I didn't see that, and I was like, Hugo Weaving is the most interesting person in the world to do a animation of it, and I was like, But
he was also like the one person. He was one of the people who did not come back as a voice actor, and I wonder if he wouldn't allow them to use his likeness as well too.
Hugo Weaving did not play the Red Skull in Avengers Endgame. It was a different actor.
The other thing that struck me was the dialogue. I felt it was at some points I thought it was almost like a children's cartoon more than it was an adult. It just didn't. It wasn't sharp.
Mm-hmm.
It was very exposition like explaining stuff to the audience.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's why they chose it to be animated. It's also trying to bring in a younger audience into being fans of the MCU, kind of like what they did in Into the Spider-Verse. I think that's one of the reasons why they made it into they put it in animated format. So you bring in more people. It's more accessible to a bigger audience.
Yeah. Well, my kids watched it, and one thing I learned at film school is kids don't lie, right? Kids watch something on TV or films with kids, because if they're truly bored, they're truly bored. And they don't persevere. I watched it with my kids, all three of them, and they're a little bit older, it must be said. And they're asking questions here and there during the show. As soon as it finished, they just left.
Yeah.
Like there wasn't that, like after the first episode of WandaVision, where everyone just went, what was, we'll have to process that. There wasn't like, everyone just, that's finished, let's go do something else, let's go to YouTube. It just Yeah, I couldn't believe how quickly they all just took off and went their separate ways. And it's kind of spoke to me a little bit that it's nice to see this reimagining. It's nice to see this kind of, what's going back to visit these characters, going back and see them in a different context. But I didn't know if there was much meat in the sandwich as far as, I don't know. I'm trying to struggle with words. It just didn't feel impactful yet.
And I think that's going to be the reoccurring theme when it comes to the multiple layers that this Marvel universe is creating. I feel like anytime that we're dealing with things that are on Earth that are just very base, the Hawkeyes, the Captain Americas or Captain Britons or Captain Carters, whatever you want to call them, the Hulks for the most part. I feel like whenever we're grounded, we're always going to have that feeling of, okay, that was good. Begin, middle, end. There's nothing else that I have to really think about after that. But I always think that once we start going to surreal, so the Thors, the Marvels, which are kind of a heavy middle ground between the ground and the surreal, the Guardians, the WandaVisions, the Doctor Stranges, I think we're always going to have this stuck of like, okay, what is being created off of this? What are we getting next off of this? Because there's so much more expanse as opposed to just regular, there's a villain, we beat up the bad guys, we get to the XYZ, and then we discover. Because even knowing about the Tesseract and completely how they slightly changed how that Tesseract is used. Before it was just a transportation device, but now it's interdimensional. Like bringing out the Hydra tentacle monster that they actually worship is a complete deviation from what we took it as it's just doing to.
So hang on, was it interdimensional or was it from another part of space? Because he called it a creature from beyond the stars. Was it?
That's why I go interdimensional as opposed to just another part of space. Because in that situation, before it would be like Loki, but even whenever in Avengers, the first Avengers, Loki was already being set up by Thanos to come in through the portal and be the revelation on that, right? Like that was just what he does. But in this one, they went further. They pulled from somewhere else. This wasn't just one of the realms. They went way further than just planet to planet, and they pulled the symbol of what they are supposed to be. So it's interesting. Again, small variation, but within the Carterverse, it doesn't feel like you can explain it. Within the Captain America, you can't explain interdimensional. Doctor Strange levels, now you got something to talk about because now we're expanding. So that's why I think we're always going to have that. It's going to be beginning, middle, end, cool. And then those other ones, it's going to be like, okay, what did just existed? What did we just create as a result from that? And then now we get those ones on the ground telling us what we're seeing and what's the variation. And I'm starting to see the cycle over and over again. So Hawkeye will prove whether or not I'm accurate.
I just wondered whether I could have done with one or two more episodes. I know that's probably going to upset Disney no end because they want to stretch it out, get viewers, coming back for as many weeks as they can. But that's what I felt with, as much as I talked up WandaVision's debut about 10 minutes ago, I'd never got right into the WandaVision until about 2 or 3 episodes in. And I wonder if we could have done with 1 or 2 more episodes just to acclimatize more to what this was all about.
I agree with Jason that I needed a bit more. I agree with Jason. It just feels it's not enough. So, maybe 2, 3 more episodes down the line, maybe.
Yeah.
Again, episode 4. That's when it all comes together. I don't even need to know, I don't even need to see the episodes to know by episode 4 is going to be, oh my gosh, this is the most amazing thing. Why did I doubt it at any point? Because at this point, Marvel's just trolling us with their predictability.
Let's remind our friends to please click on the subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you know when we have new videos out.
Subscribe.
Subscribe!
Die. Oh, die.